Welcome. If you're joining us, you probably want to get up to speed on major events without wading through tons of reports.
Exactly. Quick but thorough.
Today, we're focusing on what happened at Newark Liberty International Airport. This was Monday, April 28th, 2025.
Right. A day with some significant travel headaches centered there.
The core issue seems to have been a Federal Aviation Administration equipment problem, an outage, basically.
Yeah, that's what triggered the delays, the diversions, the whole cascade.
We've looked through the available news coverage to piece together what went down, when it happened, and, the media fallout.
A focused look at the timeline and the impact.
And if you find this breakdown useful, we'd really appreciate it if you could hit like and subscribe. It helps others find this too.
Definitely helps.
Okay, so let's dive in the basics. When did the trouble start?
Reports point to Monday afternoon, April 28th, 2025.
And centered specifically at Newark Liberty EWR in New Jersey.
That's right. Ground zero for this particular incident.
What about the cause? Was it confirmed?
Well, the initial reports, and this was backed up officially, pointed to an FAA equipment outage. Some just said equipment failure.
So not just speculation then?
No.
Yeah.
Newark airport officials actually put out a statement on X confirming delays for both arrivals and departures were due to an FAA equipment issue.
Okay, so it's official. An FAA problem. What did they do immediately? What was the operational response?
The first major step was issuing a ground stop for Newark. That happened at 1:53 p.m. apparently.
1:53 p.m. And a ground stop means what exactly for planes?
It essentially halts departures that are headed to Newark. The FAA indicated this would last through at least 5 p.m.
Wow. Okay. So nothing heading to Newark could take off for several hours.
Pretty much. And for flights already in the air on their way to Newark,
What happened to them?
they were put into holding patterns or held on the ground at their departure points if they hadn't taken off yet. FlightAware data showed inbound flights were held until 3:30 p.m.
So ground stop for departures to Newark, holds for flights already inbound. You can already see the ripple effect starting, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just contained in Newark's airspace or runway.
You saw wider consequences.
Yes. Reports started coming in about flights being diverted to other airports entirely. And, of course, delays popping up across the country for flights connected to Newark.
Even planes already airborne were affected.
Correct. Holding patterns became a big thing. Aircraft is circling, waiting for clearance or new instructions. It's standard procedure, but frustrating for everyone on board, I imagine.
Holding patterns.
Oh.
Yeah, not ideal. Was there a specific flight that sort of exemplified this chaos?
There was. United Airlines Flight 1321 got quite a bit of attention.
Okay, what was its story? Where was it supposed to go?
It departed Newark, bound for Los Angeles International, LAX.
So a cross-country flight.
Right. But instead of heading west, it was seen flying in circles over New Jersey airspace, just looping.
Seriously, just circling near where it took off.
Apparently so. There was even a report circulating someone shared a screenshot on X suggesting it was preparing for an emergency landing back at Newark.
An emergency landing? Did that happen?
The report suggested it was preparing for one, indicating a possible return shortly after takeoff due to the unfolding situation.
And we know this circling wasn't just hearsay.
No, FlightAware.com's tracking data visually confirmed it. You could see the flight path of United 1321 doing loops near Newark that afternoon.
Wow. And other visuals.
Yeah, there was also video evidence mentioned, showing planes just sitting, parked near the runway at Newark, clearly waiting and unable to depart.
So a plane takes off for LA, circles New Jersey, might need to land back immediately. That really underscores how serious the ground situation was.
It certainly does. It shows the immediate, tangible impact of that equipment outage.
Now let's talk about the delays passengers actually experienced. Was there a clear number, like all flights delayed by X hours?
That's where things get a little murky. The reports we saw actually had conflicting information on delay durations.
Oh, how so?
Well, one source mentioned departure delays out of Newark exceeding 2 hours, but arrival delays only around 15 minutes.
Okay, 2 hours out, 15 minutes in.
But then, the FAA's own information suggested something different. They were reporting arrival delays closer to 30 minutes and departure delays around an hour.
So one source says 2+ hours for departures, FAA says about an hour, and arrivals 15 minutes versus 30. That's quite a discrepancy.
It is. It highlights how initial reports in a fluid situation can vary. Different snapshots in time, perhaps, or different ways of measuring.
Makes sense. Things change quickly. Besides the delays, what crucial information wasn't available right away? What were the big unknowns?
Yeah. Well, the main one was the specific nature of the FAA equipment problem. They said outage or failure, but not what failed or why.
So no technical details released immediately?
Not publicly, no. And crucially, airport officials didn't give an estimated time for repair. There was no sense of when things might get back to normal.
Right, that lack of an ETA for resolution must have been incredibly frustrating for anyone caught up in it.
Absolutely. Uncertainty is often the worst part of these travel disruptions.
For people trying to track the situation, aviation, maybe not directly involved, but just observing? Were there tools they could use?
Yes, definitely. Flighthorror.com was mentioned frequently. Their misery map is kind of infamous for visually showing widespread delays.
The misery map, right, paints a picture.
It does. And FlightRadar, particularly their presence on X, was also highlighted as a source for real-time updates on the situation as it unfolded.
So these online platforms became key information hubs.
For getting that broader view, yes.
Given all this disruption and uncertainty, what was the main advice being given out to travelers?
The consistent message was contact your airline directly. That's always the best source for the most up-to-date status of your specific flight.
Makes sense. Don't rely on general reports. Check your flight.
Exactly. And check how these system-wide delays might impact your particular itinerary, connections, and so on.
Good practical advice. And was this whole thing wrapped up quickly, or was it ongoing for a while?
It was definitely described as a developing story at the time, meaning it wasn't immediately resolved.
Still in progress.
Yes. And we know that news outlets, like FOCUS Weather, for instance, were actively trying to get more comments, more details directly from the FAA about the equipment outage.
Okay, so efforts were underway to get more clarity.
Right.
So let's just recap the key points here. Monday afternoon, April 28th, 2025. Newark Airport. Big problems.
Caused by an FAA equipment issue. That's the trigger.
Led to a ground stop, holding patterns, diverted flights.
Significant delays, although the exact numbers varied a bit in early reports.
And knock-on effects likely felt beyond just the New York, New Jersey area.
Almost certainly, given Newark's role as a major hub.
The specific cause, the what broke, wasn't immediately clear, nor was the repair timeline.
Right, adding to the uncertainty. But tools like FlightAware and airline communications were vital for passengers.
It really makes you think about the intricate systems keeping air travel moving and how, well, vulnerable they can be to technical glitches.
It's a complex ballet, and one piece failing can really snarl things up quickly and widely. Something maybe to ponder next time you're waiting at the gate.
Indeed. Well, thank you for walking through this with us today. We hope this gave you a clearer picture of the Newark airport disruption.
Hope it was helpful.
And once again, if you found this useful, please do consider liking this discussion and subscribing for more breakdowns like this. Thanks for tuning in, and farewell for now.